रामेणाभिहता निशाचरसमूह रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम् रामे चित्तलयः भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं राम नाम वरानने अय्यण रुलरुक एओंग अयौच हयवरट लं यमगणनम जभई गड़दश जबगड़दश खफ छ छ थ छ च तव खपय शशसर हल इति माहेश्वर सूत्राणि. So, welcome everybody. We have some new people today, so we're going to have to take the class a little bit slower and also explain where we are and what we are doing. So, for the benefit of all the new people, recording is started, right? When you're recording?
Yes, Satish.
Okay. We are following this Antoine Book number 2 in this class. So the book number 1 was already done 2-3 years ago. Right now we are in this lesson number 14. With the topic here is the Chaturthi Vibhakti, and also some Krut Pratyas have been taken, which are used in the Kartari sense, and also some feminine affixes. I'm sorry, I should say the Krut Pratyas in the feminine sense, feminine gender which are used, and also the infinitive. So a few different topics going on. Right now we're doing the homework, but I'll slow down and we'll go through some of the examples in detail so people can get up to speed. So that is one book that we are following, and that I think is available at Arsha Vidya Gurukulam, the book number 2 of Antoine, which you see on the screen right now. The page 84-85 is from that book with some of my markings on it. Now, one more book which I want to mention at the outset, which we'll be using, is this book by Bhimsen Shastriji. It is called the Bhaimi Vyakhya. Let me put this book on the screen. It's an extremely good book. In fact, I would mention that all the grammar we do in this class comes from these set of books. It is in Hindi, so it is not in English, but even if your Hindi is weak, I definitely recommend getting this set of books. When you go to India, it is called it's a commentary on the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi by Bhimsen Shastriji. So we'll be referring to that book. Of course, in this class, we'll be discussing in English only, but we'll be looking at the pages because this book has almost no errors. So it's an extremely good book to use, and everything is given in great detail. So this is only Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, but see, it covers mostly what we need for this class is in those books. And in fact, the books are so good that we can, it gives you enough to learn on your own afterwards, okay? So that's the screen that you will see. I'll mention some more books as we go along. The books are not to scare you, only to give you more resources. So when you need to look at something, you know where to go and find it. That's one of the main purposes of this class is how to find answers when we need them. How do we quickly, like in English, we don't memorize everything. We know where the dictionary is, we know where the thesaurus is, we know encyclopedia, so we just go and look it up. Same thing here. We need to build a library of books so we can, look at them, and hopefully we need books which have no mistakes, no errors, and which get the job done for us quickly. So with that, let us start. What I would like to do is do a little bit of review for the benefit of actually, first of all, I wanted to correct one error that I made last time, which Satyaji pointed to me. So let's start with that, and then we will go on and discuss do some review of this little lesson, and then we'll take it to the homework. We were in the middle of the homework last time, but since some new people are there, let's do that. So in this lesson, actually, we have not done compounds yet in this book, but the author has already given us some participle forms which require compounding to be done. So that I'm referring to, I'm in the that page 84-85, which we had before. I'm talking about this one here. Okay, the one I'm talking about is in Antoine. Okay, this one which on top of page 84, look at the pratyaya nini. This pratyaya nini is was to be used only in a compound form, and the sutram was number 32, I believe it is 78, 3278. So that was the sutram, which is a very famous sutram. It says supya jato ninistachilye, supya jato ninistachilye. So when you have the any subanta form as an upapada, then we can use this pratyaya nini in the sense of tachilye. When somebody does something habitually, then we can use this pratyaya. If you look at the Ashtadhyayi, I'm talking about this sutram number 3278, which we are looking at. So we are right now in chapter number 3 of the Ashtadhyayi. Chapter number 3 deals with everything to do with verb forms, with dhatus, because there is the dhatu adhikara which runs in chapter number 3. And there are 3 dhatoho adhikara in chapter 3. 3 dhatoho, 3 places with dhatu is mentioned. One is 317. It says dhatoho karmanaha samanakritakad ichchayam va. So 317, we have a dhatoho. That doesn't go anuvritti anywhere. It just stays there. And then we have one starting from 3122. Another dhatoho is starting from there. And then we have the last dhatu on 3191. For all the new people, it will take you some time to get used to the Ashtadhyayi sequence, but that really is key to understanding this language, is to understand the way the Ashtadhyayi is structured and to make use of it. But give it some time. I know it will be a little bit difficult for all of you in the beginning, but after some time, we can try to get bits and pieces together. Because this is a Vyakaranam class, so we do, the sutras in detail, and we'll repeat them many times, so don't worry, it'll come back. So the third dhatoho, why is the third dhatoho used? Because in this third dhatu adhikara, Panini has these 3 sutras, 3192, 93, 94, where he says tatrapapadam saptamistham kudating and vasarupostriyam. So this sanya of krut pratyaya. Krut means what they call in English as participles. That only starts from this third dhatu adhikara. 3191 onwards starts the sanya krud ating. So anything which is not the ting pratyahara. Ting pratyahara is the tip tajji, those verbal endings. So barring those 18 verbal endings, anything else which comes in this third dhatu adhikara starting from 3191 to end of the third chapter, that gets the sanya of krudating. Not only that, one more thing is here, which is the tatrapapadam saptamistham. So anything in this third dhatu adhikara which is in saptami, which is indicated by the saptamistham, that will get the sanya of upapada. And these upapadas are used to form compounds. So that's what we are trying to hone into right now, is from 3192, which says tatrapapadam saptamistham. So anything which is in saptami in the sutram which is in saptami, that will get the upapada sanya, and those upapadas will be used to form compounds. Now all the sutras for compounds in Ashtadhyayi in 2122, in 2.1 and 2.2, Panini has given all the sutras which authorize the compound formations. In there we have a sutram which says upapadam ating, upapadam ating. So that one will be in the Tatpurusha Adhikara, Sutram Upapadam Ating, which is number 2219. So when we want to form an Upapada Samasa, we have to start from 2219, Upapadam Ating, and then find out which are the Upapadas which are authorized, with what dhatus, maybe in what meanings can we use dhatus as Upapadas. That we have to go to the third chapter. So any time you have a compound in this language, you have to start from 2122 and then take it from there. So Upapadam, I think, is Sutram that we are going to start from. What is Upapada Samasa in very simple language? Simple language, Upapada Samasa is when the latter half of the Samasa cannot stand on its own. Quick example, when you say a word like Kumbhakaraha or in Gita, even the word ahankara in Gita, which come many times. So when you have this word kumbhakaraha, the word karaha cannot stand on its own. It depends on the term, the kumbha to be upapada. Then only kara can exist. So these are called upapada samasas. We're going to do this in detail later on in the book, so don't worry. It's going to come later on. But right now in this chapter, we have given some examples of upapada samasa. That's what we're talking about right now. We'll do it in detail later on. So start from upapadam, ating. Upapadam, ating. Upapadam means that pada is close by. It is upa means samipe. So it is close by. So only when that pada is available close by, these dhatus can take these affixes to form these compounds. Okay, Manoj has a question for me. Yes, Manoj. Maybe not. Maybe it is. Manoj, you have a question?
No, I was not able to hear now.
Okay, all right. Okay, so so let's now look at this section in 3.2. Most of these upapadas come in this 321 to 32100. That's the main section. There are some outside of it also, but that's the main section. And in that we have this sutram, which is called, as I said before, is 3278, which says supya jato ninistachilye. So supi ajato. See, that term supi is in saptami bhakti here, supi. So that ties into what we saw before of the tatravapadam saptami stham. So when this 3192 already told us that in this section, starting from 3192 to end of the third chapter of the Ashtadhyayi, something which is in saptami, which doesn't have the regular meaning, like a technical saptami, that is to be regarded as an upapada. So here in the sutra that we are looking at right now is 3278, which says supi ajato ninihi tachilye. So that will, in that sutram, the term supi is in saptami. So supi means when you have any subanta pada, doesn't have to be in a particular vibhakti, can be any vibhakti. When that is in upapada, then you can use a pratyaya nini. Nini is the pratyaya. And it has to be in the meaning of tachilye. And one condition is that the supi should be ajato. Should not be a jati vachaka sabda. Like, brahmana, kshatriya, should not be like that. So that is the sutram we are looking at. When you add any affix, any pratyaya, should ask these three questions. Is that, what is the pratyaya? In our case, the answer is nini. Then in what meaning it is coming? The answer in this is tachilya. And which prakriti can take it? Who can take the pratyaya? And here the answer is dhatoho. A dhatu can take the pratyaya. Because we are in the dhatu adhikara right now. And it has one more condition which says that some subanta should be as an upapata, which is not a jati vachaka shabda. So these are the answers to our particular one. But any pratyaya that you add, you have to ask these questions. Now, for example, a simple sutram like kartari shap, which I think many of you know, kartari shap. Now there, what is the thing is that dhatus can take the pratyaya shap. Pratyaya is shap. It has to be in kartari arthe. And then you have to have pratyaya following, which is sarvadhatuke. So we'll look at these over and over again, but keep these three questions in mind. Any affix that you add, you have to ask the question, what is the affix? What prakritis can take it? In what meaning? Now all these, we have to remember one more thing. We are in the bigger adhikara right now, which starts from the 311, which says pratyaha parascha. Pratyaha parascha. From 311 to 312, this adhikara goes to the end of the 5th chapter of Ashtadhyayi. So chapter 3, 4, 5 of the Ashtadhyayi. All they do is they bring in all these affixes with different meanings, different conditions. Among that, the 3rd chapter is for after dhatus, and then the 4th and 5th chapter is for pratipadikams. So we are right now in the 3rd chapter. Okay. So now what was the mistake I made last time? That's why I always say, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because I make mistakes too, and I hope you'll point them out. So thanks to Satyaji for pointing out the mistake, which is that, okay. Now samasas, we have these two terms, what is called the laukika vigraha and the alaukika vigraha. So when you talk about laukika vigraha, see, vigraha is that you break apart the samasa. You explain the samasa. That's called the vigraha vakyam of a samasa, vigraha vakyam. And for example, if you say here, when you say, take a simple example, let us say ushna bhojin. If you take the samasa, ushna bhojan, one who always eat hot food. So ushna bhojan, when you have this compound, then we can ask, what does this compound mean? What is the meaning of this compound? If this is the undeclined form, ushna bhojan, and when you decline it, if you take it masculine, nominal singular, it's going to become ushna. It's going to become ushna bhoji. Ushna bhoji will decline. So what does ushna bhoji mean? Now this is important because when you read the commentaries, any vyakhyanam, any bhashyam, they will only give you the laukika vigraha. Laukika vigraha. They will say ushnam bhunkte tachilyena iti ushna bhoji. So one who eats hot food habitually, not once in a while, he is a ushna bhoji, ushna bhojan. That's what's called a laukika vigraha. So you'll see something like this. You'll see, and from that vigraha vakyam, you have to be able to work backwards and understand what the commentator is trying to say. Now these vigraha vakyams are very standard formulas. They are not dependent so much on the, they don't differ from text from commentator to commentator. These are going to be standard bhunkte. Okay. So ushnam bhunkte tachilyena. I'm going a little bit slow today. I apologize to the regular students because we have a lot of new people. So it'll be some practice for the new people. I mean for the old people rather. And also we have, just for all the new people in the class, we do have people in the old class who've been here for 2, 3, 4 years. So you can ask questions and they can also answer you. You can post on the group. We have Satyaji, we have, Inju, we have Kalpesh, we have Vena here, Padmaji. We have a lot of people who can answer your questions. So you can also, post them on the Google group, and it will take you some time to get up to speed, which is okay. Give it some time, and we can hopefully catch up. So tachilyena. So this will be the laukika vigraha. Ushnam bhunkte tachilyena. Means see now, the commentator will not tell you that what sutra we are using, but you are supposed to take this tachilyena and understand that he's trying to tell you that you are going to be that we require the sutra will have something about tachilyam. And one more thing which I mentioned in the class many times is that when you see a tinganta padam in the vigraha vakyam, you should know that we have a upapada samasa. Normally when you have like a tatpurusha samasa, if you have a bahuvrihi, you will not see a verb form in the vigraha vakyam. For example, if you say raja purushaha, all you need is rajnyaha purushaha. You say a form like mahabahuho, you say mahantau bahu yasyasaha, but you will still not see a verb form in the vigraha vakyam. This is one more way to spot these upapada samasas. Look at the vigraha vakyam and see if you have a tinganta padam in the vigraha vakyam. That means that you're probably going to be in a upapada samasa. But this is the laukika vigraha, and you got to get used to these formulas. If you know these formulas, then you can work backward and see what samasa is the commentator trying to say. And we're going to do compounds in detail later on, so let's leave it at this for the time being. Now, what is the alaukika vigraha? So this is the laukika vigraha. So I should put in brackets. This is the laukika vigraha. Laukika means that it is in the regular language usage, non-technical. Non-technical. So this is laukika, and say vigraha vakyam. Now, so this is what you will see in most of the commentaries, unless you're looking at a really grammatical text. Is what. So you need to know these very well. The alaukika vigraha will be as follows. You will see, and this is where I made the mistake last time, and I'll tell you why I made the mistake also. You will have ushna plus the shashti bhakti, yes. which will be this one, yes, and plus you have the dhatu bhuj, and then you will have to have this pratyaya nini. So now, and this is I'm tying back to the Antoine's book, which we have here, where he stops on the he says, Maamsam bhunkte maamsa bhuj, maamsa bhojin. One who eats meat habitually, maamsa bhojin. So that is what we are trying to. Now the question is that why are we using this shashti bhakti here? This nyas is shashti ekavachanam. So one who is a consumer of hot food. So we have an off coming in here, as opposed to in the vigraha vakyam, we had ushnam bhunkte, we had dvitiya vibhakti in the vigraha vakyam. In the vigraha vakyam, we had dvitiya vibhakti. So he says one who eats hot food. Now, so we need to understand which vibhakti we want to use here. And there, see, ushna is a karma, is an object of the act of eating. So it definitely has a karma sanya. Because the definition of karma according to Panini is kartuhu ipsitatamam karma. Kartuhu ipsitatamam karma. So that which he wants the most. This is the Panini Sutram, kartuhu ipsitatamam karma. So that which he wants to accomplish the most through the action, which he wants to, what's the target of his action, what he wants the most, that is going to be karma. So really, clearly he wants to eat hot food, so the hot food is the ushnam is the karma. So normally you should take a dvitiya vibhakti because we have this sutram karmani dvitiya. Now, also for everybody's information, all the vibhakti assignments are made in the Ashtadhyayi in chapter in 2.3. In 2.3 of Ashtadhyayi, we have all the vibhakti assignments. If you want to use any sup ending, prathama, dvitiya, titiya, whatever, you have to find one sutram in 2.3, which will allow you to use that vibhakti. So it gives various conditions where the su can be used, where can be used, so where the first case can be used, second case can be used. It's a very small section. It has only about 70 odd sutras. So we can master that. It's not that hard. Because if there are only 70 odd sutras, and they're all broken down into sections. So there, the one I was referring to is Karmani Dvitiya, very famous sutram, very easy sutram also. The individual Pani sutras are easy. They're not that hard. Most of them are really easy. So if you can understand to take it bit by bit. So what Panini has done is chop down the language into bit by bits, so small bits which we can digest. And then we can combine these bits to make the whole language. That is his greatness. So Karmani Dvitiya. He simply says that when we have an object, the object takes the second case, Karmani Dvitiya. So that's what it says. Now, there are some conditions on this, but we'll not go into detail in this chapter. Today we don't do it in detail. But the one condition which I want to mention only in passing, we'll look at it later on, is this condition called anabhihite. This 231 anabhihite runs throughout the 2.3 section. So all these sutras in 2.3 only apply when that term is anabhihite. So dvitiya is used in the sense of karma, but that's only if that karma has already not been indicated by the verb or the participle. So let's leave it at that for now. Keep it in the back of your mind. We will come back to it. So this sutra was saying that we want to use a second case, dvitiya. But in our document, we just put the sixth case over here. It says ushna plus nyas plus bhuj plus ninihi. So we want to see what is something overruling that. And sure enough, we do have that. And that is 2.365. The sutram which said that, which says that kartu karmanoho kriti. So this is like an exception to that. It is an exception. So this says that if you have a krit pratyaya, this is the Panini style. He will mention a general rule, what's called the utsarga. Utsarga is a default general rule, which will be mentioned first. And below that, he will carve out all the specific regions, which will be taken out. So this one, this 2.365, is a specific rule because it requires this krit pratyaya only. See, that 2.3.2 was general. That karmani dvitiya was a general rule. It didn't say anything about krit pratyaya, nothing. As long as the karma is there, anabhite, we use dvitiya. This 2365 is telling us now that if we have a krut pratyaya, of which that karma is the object, or we have the object of a krut pratyaya, in that case the kartru and the karma takes this shashti vibhakti, not dvitiya. So this is a stunning statement, because if we have any krut pratyaya, then we are asked to use the shashti vibhakti here. But then, so that is how we get this. So even though in the vigraha vakyam, see the trick here is that even though in the laukika vigraha vakyam we have ushnam bhunkte tachilyena, we had the form bhunkte. In the alaukika vigraha we only have bhuj plus nini. We don't have bhunkte in the alaukika vigraha. So at this point we only want to use the shashti vibhakti nyas, not the dvitiya. So please make that correction. But then the next question comes is that how come here in the laukika vigraha we have dvitiya, we have the second case. We did not say ushnasya bhunkte. We said ushnam bhunkte. So now how come in one case you're using dvitiya, in one case you're using shashti? Okay, the answer to that is as follows. The answer to that is that there is a sutram below 2365, which is 2369. It says na lokavyaya nishtha kalartha trinam. So these, if there are these set of pratyas are used, then you go back to dvitiya, not shashti. And it's a bit complicated for many of you. It's okay. Well, listen to it one time. We'll come back to it many times again. So don't worry. But what I'm trying to communicate to you is that this use of vibhaktis, what case endings are we using? And in our case, we had an object of the verb bhunkte, bhuj dhatu I should say. And we'll first start from 232, which gave us the rule that if we have an object, then that should take the second case ending. Then we came to 2365, which told us that if that object, or in fact an agent also, kartru karmanoho, if that object or agent is connecting to a participle form, krut pratyaya, we have to take the shashti vibhakti. And then finally comes 2369, which says that, but no, if those pratyas are one of this list of pratyas in 2369. So we're getting more and more specific. Then we have to go back to dvitiya. This is a three-step process, which is difficult for some of you. It is okay. Remember, everybody in the class should know 232. Karmani dvitiya, simple sutram, 232. And then, if you can remember 2365, that's also okay. If you cannot, that's also. But remember 232. If you know 2365, then the question will come: how did we say ushnam bhunkte? And that is because this 2369 told us that if we have any lakara form, we say Ramaha Sitam Pashyati. Rama sees Sita. The Pashyati is what Panini calls lakaras. Lakara means Panini has given technical terms to all the tenses and moods, which are basically 10 in number. He calls them lut, lit, lut, lut, lot. And then we have the lung, ling, two kinds of ling, lung and lung. So these are the 10 L's, we can call them. In English we can call them the 10 L's, the L1, L2, L3, etc. So that is what's called as lakaras. So there, when you say lut, you mean it's a present tense. When you say lit, it's a particular kind of past, and so on and so forth. So this la, in this Sutram 2369 is saying, if you have any la adesha, in that case you go back to dvitiya. So that is how we got in this saying we had ushnam bhunkte. Because this bhunkte is a lat lakara, it's a present tense form. So the shashti was stopped. We came back to dvitiya. So that's the trick in this vigraha vakyam. And the mistake I made last time was I put the pratyaya over here, which is incorrect. So this should still be nyas in the vigraha vakyam as long as we don't have the lakara form. When you go to the laukika vigraha and we get the lakara form, then we can use dvitiya. Okay, and all this is connecting to the book in what we have in this top half of the book, we see pratyaya nini being used. So that is the one which we are trying to convey. Okay, what I'd like to do now is, since we have a number of new people, whether we have 26 people in the class today, a lot of new people have come. So what I want to do is to just quickly refresh everybody's memory of when we use the Chaturthi Vibhakti in this language. The topic of this lesson is, when do we use the fourth case ending, Chaturthi? And for that, let me just review it for the benefit of everybody. And also what happened was, unfortunately, was that class didn't get recorded. Okay, so we are sorry for that, because this is a little bit new for us. So that class did not get recorded. So again, it will be helpful to just go over a little bit. Maybe that was intentional. It didn't get recorded, because we can go through it one more time. Okay, Vibhakti assignments. Now there are two main sections which Panini tells us which Vibhakti needs to be used in which situation. The main section is 2.3, where ultimately we have to come to 2.3. And there Panini will tell us you use the Prathama, use Dvitiya, use Tritiya, and so on. So there Panini makes the Vibhakti assignments. But what happens is that, let's go to a sutram for this lesson. And the one that we want to use for the fourth case endings, what Panini calls is the Sampradane. Look at 2.3.13. I'm going to give you a lot of sutras in this class, lot of sutras. You don't have to understand them all. Keep them as reference points, and try to connect the dots after some time. So don't get overwhelmed by the lot of sutras coming, because a lot of sutras are going to come in the beginning. They'll be overwhelming for you, but take few main ones. At least know the sections which we are dealing with. And as far as the Antoine Book is concerned, you don't need any of these sutras. But I want you to understand the sutras, because that's how you develop the language. You understand the real inside of the language. Otherwise, if you just go to the English books and do homework, you'll be good, but it won't let you progress beyond that point. That's why we're doing all the sutras in addition to the Antoine Book. So a lot of sutras will be coming towards you. Take as many as you can, and we'll come back to them. But they'll be repeated many times. Okay, Chaturthi Sampradane. So here Panini says is that which has Sampradana Sanya, we want to use Chaturthi. Okay, the question comes, is the book in PDF form? I don't think the book is in PDF form that I know of, but maybe we can try to do that. Unfortunately, right now, we are still in the paper book. But in every class, I will show you the pages that we are using. And I will also try to, maybe Kalpeshji or Vain can help us to upload these to Google Group for the next class, okay? So the next class, we'll upload those pages so you can look at them. And PDF, maybe we'll try to do some later if we can, okay? So, okay. Now, so the Chaturthi Sampradane. So that which has Sampradana Sanya, in that meaning, Chaturthi is to be used. The question comes, what is Sampradhanam? This is a technical term, Sampradhanam. Of course, Dhanam is giving, This Sampra, they interpret to mean that if you give something without the intention of taking it back, that is called Sampradhanam. That's the way the commentators, and in a lot of these instances, as they say, Vyakhyanam Asmakam Sharanam, is that we have to depend on the commentaries of the scholars, okay? Then, so which is very good for us. They clarify a lot, and I'll mention some of these commentaries as we go along, so you can know them and don't be afraid of them, because you can slowly refer to them and get the inside meaning of things. Okay, so the question is, what is Sampradane? And that is covered in section on 1.4, where Panini has a section on Karake, section called Karake. So in 1.4, Panini assigns all the what are called the Karaka labels. He defines what is karma, who is the karta, what is karanam, what is sampradhanam, what is apadhanam, what is adhikaranam. So these are defined in 1.4, and that section goes from this Ashtadhyayi is very good, but it doesn't tell you which section goes from where to where. So, but there are other books we can use for that. But this Karake goes from 1.4.23 to 1.4.55. So mark these two sections. This is lesson for you for today, for the Ashtadhyayi. Is that from 1.4.23 to 1.4.55, Panini assigns the Karaka labels. And then in 2.3, he assigned the vibhaktis. Okay, so remember these two sections. So the moment in this language, if you have any question, why was this vibhakti used? Take Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Dharma kshetre, kurukshetre. Dharma kshetre, saptami was used. Why was saptami used? You have to come here and find the answer to that. And these are not that big sections. So you can see we only have what? About 33 plus 70, maybe 106 sutras or so to give you answers on what vibhakti is to be used. So we can go into that. The reason I'm saying it's a small section because when you come to Tadhita, we have 1,000 sutras over there. 1,000, more than 1,000. This is only less. This is like 100 sutras for all 7 vibhaktis. So that's the good news, and they're compact, and we can use them. So there, Panini has. He starts from this sutram, this 1432. He defines sampradhanam. He starts defining sampradhanam, and he goes down to 41. So karmana yam abhipraiti sa sampradhanam. Karmana yam abhipraiti sa sampradhanam. So repeat the sutras in your mind. They're meant to be memorized. Sutras are meant to be memorized. English books, don't memorize them because you will not get the bang for the buck, so, and you will sometimes they might summarize things differently and simplify things which may not be optimal. The sutras are optimized. For the last 2,000 years they've been used by all the great scholars. If you want to memorize or repeat something, repeat the sutras. And if you want to know what the sutra means, you should go and memorize, if you at least refer to what's called as the vritti. Vritti means which explains this sutra. And that you can get from the Siddhanta Kaumudi or from the Kashika. So if you want to know what does this sutra mean, karmana yam abhipraiti sa sampradhanam. So in English, let's look at this one a little bit detail. We can go to the Vigraha Vakyam as given in the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. So Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi is a shorter version of Siddhanta Kaumudi, but that has only about 1/3 the number of sutras. It only has about 1,300 odd sutras. See, Ashtadhyaya is 4,000 sutras. Siddhanta Kaumudi, what it does, it reorders the Ashtadhyaya topic by topic. If you want to know how to decline Rama Shabda, you want to go to Siddhanta Kaumudi. Siddhanta Kaumudi is much recent compared to Ashtadhyaya. So we need both of these side by side. We want the Ashtadhyaya Kramaha, we want Siddhanta Kaumudi also. We need both of them. Because sometimes you can find answers quickly in one, sometimes in the other. Because they're organized in different ways. And we'll see that in detail. But the Siddhanta Kaumudi is also, big in size. So what was done by this, one of the pupils, one of the students of Bhattoji Dikshita, he made the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. Chhatranam klesham jnatva, having known the difficulty of the students. Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi rachita, Varadarajena. It says Bhattoji Dikshita Shishyena. So he composed Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. So we can get that with the 80-20 rule, So we use only 30% of sutras and we get 70% of the language. So that's what we are referring to. And this Bhaimi Vyakhya, which is in Hindi, is extremely good. If your Hindi is even a little bit okay, please get that book. Please, that's the single most important book in non-Sanskritam, okay? Not in talking in. So if you don't know Sanskritam to begin with, I cannot ask you to read Siddhanta Kaumudi or Kashika because, So again, one of the projects we have going here is I'm trying to translate this into English. That's if I can find some time. I want to translate this into English. We've already done a few pages. So hopefully I want to leave this behind so we can all make it for the next generation of students. We can leave behind these books in English so they can read this in English also. Anyway, okay, so let's see what this is. Karmana yam abhipraiti sa sampradhanam. So danasya karmana yam abhipraiti sa sampradhana sanyasyat. So this vritti takes into account all the anuvrittis. Anuvritti means something might be coming down from a prior rule. Something may need to be filled in. The simple example which my teacher used to give me was if you say that Ramaha goes to the forest. Ramaha vanam gacchati. If this was one sutram. Next sutra might be Sita api. or Sita cha. If you just know Sutram Sita cha, it does not tell you anything. Really, all you know is and Sita. But Sita what? Vanam gacchati. That you get from the prior sutram. So we need to know what the anuvrittis are. You can only get the anuvrittis if you understand the Ashtadhyayi sequence. If you don't want the Ashtadhyayi sequence, you should not give that up. But if you don't have it in front of you, if you're unsure, you can go to the vritti. This vritti will combine all the anuvritti. It will take all the bits and pieces together and give you the entire gist of the whole sutram in a nice simple sentence. Vritti is also meant to be memorized because, for example, my teacher, he had memorized the whole Ashtadhyayi and also memorized the vrittis, at least from these main sutras. The moment you tell him one sutram, the next thing he'll spit the vritti out for you. Without even thinking, he'll spit it out, like that. So now it's very hard to catch him on the wrong foot because he's going to check the vritti very carefully before he applies anything. And of course, if you don't want to memorize, just keep it ready, refer to it. So what does it say? Danasya karmana yam abhipraiti. So danasya karmana. So by the object of the verb to give, da. So da is just to give. An example is that we say chhatraya pustakam dadati. Upadhyayah chhatraya pustakam dadati. So the teacher gives the book to the student. Now here, so the intention, the abhipraiti means what is who's the intended recipient of that giving, Who is the intended recipient? And it's clearly the student. So that student will get the sampradana sanya. So she will get sampradhanam. And so this is step number 1. So far we not assigned any vibhaktis. We only got the sanya sampradhanam. We got the term sampradhanam defined. Is that which is the intended recipient, intended beneficiary of the object, of the verb to give. That is called sampradhanam. Now, so this is what we are starting. This is the first sutra, 1.4.32. We define what is sampradhanam. Now there are some sutras below this also, which go, and Anuji had a question, we'll come to that. Now, they also will get sampradhanam, but this is the first sutra. So this sutra only allows this objects of the dhatu da to give the single verb da, only the verb da. But now that will not explain some of the other usages that we have in the language. One more thing I want to mention to you, which I also mentioned a few times, is that vibhaktis are not, this science of vibhaktis is not black and white. Like you have sandhi rules, you have declensions of nouns, you have verbal forms. These are not black and white. Okay, so you have to use. It is more of an art form. So you need to extend sometimes. Sometimes you need to put something in there, and sometimes you need to interpret the sutras. And a lot of this has already been done for us by the great scholars. So we can only, so this vigraha vakyam, this vritti, I should say, vritti, only tells us the dhatu da, the object of the dhatu da, and the one which is the beneficiary of that gets sampradhanam. But then if you look at these notes down here, which are given in the book, you can see this. He gives some very difficult. He gives a funny example. Is Khandikopadhyaya Shishyaya Chapetam Dadati. Is that a teacher slaps the student, so he gives him a slap. So that clearly he's not giving anything. He's not like donating anything to him. So in these cases also, even though there's no charity involved here really, we can also use this sutram, this same sutram. Okay. Not only that, if we have some other dhatu, not only a dhatu da, some other dhatu, and we have an object of that dhatu, which is intended for somebody, for the purpose of somebody, for the sake of somebody, meant for somebody, then also we can get the sampradana sanya. An example he gives is that Gurave patram likhati. Gurave patram likhati. he writes a letter to his teacher. Gurave patram likhati. Now, we don't have the dhatu da over here. With dhatu lik, lik is to write. So he writes a letter, but the letter is intended for his guru. Is meant for his guru. The object of the letter is he wants to give a letter to his guru. So in that case also we can get the sampradana sanya. So the guru gets sampradana sanya because he was the intended recipient of the letter. Similarly, he gives example is Devadattaya Kupa Jalam Anayati, is that he brings water from the well for the sake of Devadatta. So Devadattaya Kupa Jalam Anayati. So someone brings water from the well for Devadatta. So here we don't have the dhatu da. We don't have any donation or charity going on here. But he's only bringing water for Devadatta. So here also we can extend this sutram, and we can give sampradana sanya to that. So in English, simple thing is that when there is an object of a verb intended for somebody, meant for somebody, for the sake of somebody, then that somebody gets the sampradana sanya, and then he's going to take the chaturthi vibhakti. Satya has a question. Let me do Satya Uppala has a question. See, he's teaching Vyakaranam also at the Bridgewater Temple in New Jersey. He's teaching Siddhanta Comedy. He can also help you answer some questions. We also have Lalita ji in the class. She's also teaching Vyakaranam at, I think, at least the Bhashana Shiksha at the Sanskrit Bharati. We have Alpesh who's teaching also. So their students are here to help us out. So a lot of, so if you have questions, post them, and they will also answer to you. One more thing before I take Satya's question is that these vibhakti assignments, unless you're composing, you don't have to worry too much, because you will see the form. You say Gurave Patram Likhati. That form is all in front of you. You have a Chaturthi here. It's not once you, and the way to compose and speak in this language is that you should see the Shishta Prayogas. Read them over and over again, and what they use, you use, as they say. So, yatha shishtaha bhashante, tatha bhashitavyam asmabhi api. So we have to also speak as like the shishtas speak. And so only when you read all the shishtas are who? Means like good levatale. When you say Vyasa, when you say Valmiki, or when you say Bhagavatam, when you say even Siddhanta Kaumudi, when you say Kashika, when you say Kalidasa, when you say so all these great poets, and then even the great commentators also, like Sridhara, when you say Mallinatha, when you say Shankara, when you say all these bhashas, then you can learn how to speak this language. So right now, since if you're only reading, the form Gurave is in front of you. You see Chaturthi is already there. So you can just simply say in English, he writes a letter for the benefit of his guru, for the sake of his guru, or for his guru, simply for his guru. Yes, Satya, go ahead.
So in this sutram, karmanayam apiprayati sampradhanam. So sampradhanam is a sanya, right?
Sanya, yes, correct.
And but it is also used in the explaining the sutra itself. Like usually the sanya stands on itself, and the sanyan is used in the explanation of the sanya.
What he says is that it is called anvitarsa sanya. Is that this sanya has in it. See, what the question that the grammarians ask is that, see, it is coming down in this book, is that, see, Panini has some very short sanyas, like ghu, ti, ghi, bha. But here he's a long sanya, guru sanya, sampradana. And he wants to make it the anvartha. He makes it anvartha sanya he wants to make. Anvartha means it brings the meaning with it. That's how this Kashika Siddhanta Komuni begin by defining it as only the dhatu da, because of the this bhrat sanya karana samarthyat. So the long sanya was made. That's the explanation which they give. Okay, but that will not explain all the uses in the language. So that's why we have to extend that. But that's how they got this dhatu da only from the sampradana. That's the explanation which they're giving.
But the thing is that though for this sutram, of course, you are using sampradhanam in the anvartha, but it goes anuvritti to the following sutras, where of course it is just a sanya.
Yes, but see here it says the object, karmana. The object of which verb now? That's when they have to find out which verb is Panini talking about. And we need the word dhanam. See, in the following sutra, there's no such ambiguity anywhere. He specifically says in this. So there's no.
Right.
But here we had an open field, so that's when they constrain it to mean the dhanam only.
Oh, okay. So in the other cases, it's just a pure sanya.
It's a sanya only. We don't need the anvartha over there.
An anvartha there. Okay.
Anvartha will not fit also over there.
Right. Okay.
But here we need the anvartha.
Okay.
So good. Thank you. So as I said, there are a number of students in this class who will be able to help all of the new students. And of course, I'm not saying new students are behind, but you will also, I'm sure some of you also know very well. See, my job is only to facilitate the teaching, So because I learn the most in every class is what I say, because I have my own homework when I go home. So, okay. So this we got the first sutram. So now so far we only got sampradana sanya, and then after that we use chaturthi sampradane. Now see, he went to 2.3. We got the sampradana sanya in 1.4. Then went to 2.3 to assign the chaturthi vibhakti. But we already know what sampradhanam is from this 1.4.32. Again, there are more sutras under this, but this is the top level sutram. So then we says vipraya gam dadati. He gives a cow to a priest. So that is the vipraya to chaturthi vibhakti. So that's the general way. So any vibhakti from now on. One more thing I want to mention to you, that the shashti vibhakti is not a karaka. See, karaka means it participates in the action. That's called a karaka. Karaka itself is a krut pratyaya, means one which does. In this case, one which participates in the action. So we take a simple sentence. Ravanaha Ramasya bharyam apaharati. So Ravana abducts Rama's wife. So Ravanaha Ramasya bharyam apaharati. Now Ramasya is Shashti Bhakti there. So Shashti Bhakti, Rama was not even there when this happened. He did not participate in the action at all. Now, Ravana and Sita had to participate in the action, but not Rama. So Rama is Shashti Bhakti. So Ramasya bharyam apaharati. So Shashti Bhakti, you will not come to 1.4. In 1.4, you will have no mention of the Shashti taking another sanya. So any other vibhakti, Prathama, Ditya, Titiya, Chaturthi, Panchami, Saptami, you have to come to 1.4, get the Karaka labels, and then go to 2.3. Now, one more thing is that in 2.3, sometimes Panini will assign a vibhakti directly without a sanya, Karaka sanya being defined in 1.4. They are called Upapada vibhaktis. For example, you say Shivaya Namaha, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. So there is a sutra which we'll see today later on, where when the word Namaha is there, you use Chaturthi vibhakti with you. So this no sampradana was defined for this. Directly, Panini said that if Namaha is there, use Chaturthi. And that's why I'll give you the number right now. We'll look at it in more detail later on. So we don't have to come to 1.4 for Upapada vibhaktis. There are two vibhaktis, the Karaka vibhakti and the Upapada vibhaktis. And sometimes when they clash, Upapada vibhakti baliyasi, then the Upapada vibhakti will overrule that. For example, you say Narayanaya Namaha, Namo Narayanaya. But you say Narayanam Namaskaromi, is that I worship Narayana. So even though Namaha is there, because the Dhatu Kru came in there, it became Dvitiya. So when the two vibhaktis clash, and these are just general concepts for you, we will refer to them over and over again. Okay, let me first give you the sutta for the Namaha, Swasti, Swaha, Swadha. So it's 2.3.16 is saying if you have one of these terms, you use the Chaturthi vibhakti directly. You don't have to wait for any Sampadana Sanya. So Namaha, Swasti, Prajabhya Swasti. So, may there be well-being for all the people. So it's Indra is Swaha, when you want to offer them to Indra, and so on and so on. So we're going to see this in detail. So these are called Upapada Vibhaktis. So maybe we'll put this in document. We call the Upapada Vibhaktis and Karaka Vibhaktis, Upapada. Upapada which are defined directly in 2.3 without any Karaka Sanya coming from 1.4. So Upapada Vibhakti. And the other one is, one more important reason which Kalpesh ji pointed out to us a few classes back, is when you have something in the passive, then it does matter, what. Let me take an example. Let me finish this one. Upapada vibhakti is when Pani defines the vibhakti directly in 2.3, and then we got the karaka vibhaktis, and with the karaka is the more powerful vibhakti that overrules when there is any clash. So karaka vibhakti is the more, as I said, it has more authority. Karaka vibhakti. Now, one quick example I'll give you, and then we'll move on. Is that because this is not the topic for today so much, but I want to give you some background. Now, for example, when you say, I think we gave the example before, is Ramaha Sitam Pashyati. Ramaha sees Sita. So when you have this simple sentence, if you want to keep it in, okay, fine. Sitam Pashyati. If you look at this sentence, clearly Sita is the karma, she is the object. Because the object of seeing of Rama is Sita. Rama is the karta. Pashyati is the verb. Oh, Lalita ji has a question. Okay. Yes, Lalita ji.
Satish ji, namaste. I heard two opposite sentences. At one point, Karaka Vibhakti is Baliyasi. At one point, Upapada Vibhakti is Baliyasi.
No. Okay. No. Karaka Vibhakti Baliyasi.
But when you gave the example of Namaskaroti,
Narayanam Namaskaromi, what happened is that the Namaha dictates Chaturthi.
Right, Narayanaya Namaha.
Narayanaya Namaha. But when you say Narayanam Namaskaromi, the Dhatu Kru came in there. And the object of that, the Narayan became the karma now. So Narayana got a karma label. The sentence Narayanam Namaskaromi. And that overruled the Upapada Vibhakti. The Karaka Vibhakti overruled the Upapada Vibhakti.
So,
Karaka Vibhakti is Karmani Dvitiya.
Right. Okay, so Karaka Vibhakti is more dominant basically.
Is dominant, only when there is a conflict, correct.
Okay, Dhanyawada.
So now let's so this is a simple sentence. Now what happens is that when you make a passive out of this, we will see what will we have. We have Sita. And if I'm saying anything wrong, please correct me, because now these classes are being recorded. So kinchit mamo bhayam jayate. So because before we had these classes in a physical class, so if I say anything wrong, it was kind of lost. But now please correct me if I'm saying something wrong. We try to keep this as, and if I'm typing something wrong, also correct me. So we can, people who listen to the recordings will hopefully not have to suffer through that. So Sita, say Ramena Drishyate. So Sita is seen by Rama. Now, what happens is that Sita is still the object. Sita didn't change. She is still the object of the seeing, and Rama is the seer. But what happened is that this verb now started connecting with the Sita, because the Drishyate is a third-person singular form. It became third-person singular only because of Sita. Because if Sita was plural, it would become plural. If I say, Vanaraha Ramena Drishyante. So the monkeys are seen by Rama. The many monkeys become Drishyante. So Sita became Abhita. So she went in the Prathama Vibhakti. So look at these two things now. Sita is the karma in both sentences. Rama is the karta in both sentences. When the first sentence, Rama is in Prathama Vibhakti. The second sentence, Rama is Titiya Vibhakti. So, and the first sentence, Sita is in the Dvitiya Vibhakti. In the second sentence, she is in Prathama Vibhakti. So the karma doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be in Dvitiya Vibhakti all the time. The karma label still stays, because she is the object of the seeing, clearly in both sentences. So karma label stays, but karma does not translate to Dvitiya all the time, because in one sentence, Sita now it became a passive construct. Sita became Abhite. What I'm trying to tell you is that the Karaka label assignments, they are kind of fixed. So Sita is depending on the action of who is doing the action, and what are the intentions of the action. Those labels stay fixed. But when you assign the vibhaktis, we have to come and see now. Is it in the active sense? Is it in the passive sense? Who's abhite? Who's anabhite? What kind of pratyaya is being used? Who's the overruling var? But still the karma sanya will remain the same. Karma will remain the same. So we have to be careful. These are not equivalent things. They're not equivalent. That's all I want to point out for today. Is karma is not equivalent to Dvitiya Vibhakti. Karma is karma, depending on what the action is going on. Karta is karta. But Vibhakti assignments will depend on what kind of sentence it is, and active, passive, and if something else is coming in the way, and all those kind of things. Okay. So for us, we are only defining right now. In the topic of this lesson is only Chaturthi Vibhakti. So we have done two things so far. We understand what is Sampradanam, and that was in the 1.4 in the Karaki Adhikara, 1.4.32. Second thing we did was we assigned the Vibhakti Chaturthi to something which has already been defined as Sampradanam. So we've done 1.4.32, Karmana Yamavipraiti Sa Sampradanam. And then we came to 2.3 and we got Chaturthi Sampradane. So that is what we did. And now let us extend these. So these are the two main sections. Now what we have to do is that we have to now add other things to that. So let me come to 2.3. We're looking at this 2.3.13. So let me map the sections out for you. We go from 1.4.32 to 41, Sampradana Sanya. And then in the 2.3, we are going from 2.3, we are going 2.3, as I said to you, 2.3.13 down to let me see, 2.3.13 up to 17. Only five sutras. That's what I'm telling you. Only five sutras. One thing about 2.3, you're a little bit careful, because even though Chaturthi is defined in 2.3.13 to 17, sometimes Chaturthi may coexist with another Vibhakti. So there might be some Chaturthi assignments outside 2.3.13 to 17. Look at the prior sutram, 2.3.12. Gatyartha karmani ditya chaturthyau cheshtaya manadhvani. So here is a special case which ditya or chaturthi can be used. So it did not come in this 2.3.13 to 17 section. Because 13 to 17 are only chaturthis. So if you're not finding the answer in 2.3.13 to 17, don't assume it has to be in that small section. It has to be in 2.3. That is fixed. That won't change. So any Vibhakti answer is 2.3. That is, so you have only 73 sutras. You have to go any further than that. But sometimes there might be exceptions, and there might be, 2-3 Vibhaktis coming in the same meanings. They might be in different places. So what 2.3.12 is saying, when you go, for example, you say aham ashramam gacchami, aham ashramaya gacchami. So I go to the ashram. If you're physically moving somewhere, you can use Dvitiya and Chaturthi. Normally you would probably use Dvitiya only, because it's a karma of going. Aham griham gacchami, aham grihaya gacchami. I go home. So that was a special case. But so I'm just saying, even though I'm mapping it out for you, 2.3.13 to 17, you will have some small bits and pieces hanging around here and there maybe. But the main one, at least for this lesson, what we're looking right now, is we're looking 2.3.13 to 17. Okay. Now let's first finish off the section in 1.4. And Anuji had a question for me also. I'll come to that. So let's quickly run through them, and we will. Now, there are also what are called as Vartikams. Now, what is Vartikam? Is Katyayana feels that Panini should have said something to make it more clear. So Panini left some things unsaid, unclear. And so, this is called the Munitrayam Vyakaranam. Munitrayam Vyakaranam. The Vyakarana has three Munis, Panini, Katyayana, and Patanjali. And we say Uttarottara Pramanyam, which means that what Katyayana says, he had the advantage of seeing all what Panini had done, and he adds to it, he tweaks it. And then Patanjali comes, and he has the advantage of seeing what both had done. And that is really what they call as the Akara Grantha of Vyakaranam. Akara Grantha means it is the mine of, so it's a Siddhanta Nidhi. It is the treasure house of all the Vyakarana Siddhantas. Where Patanjali takes all the Vartikams and he discusses them. He rejects some of them, he accepts some of them, and so on. So here, what Katyayana is going to do is that he's going to extend some of this for us. Okay, so he's going to say, well, Panini should have mentioned this also, and that also, and so on and so on and so forth. Let's look at one of them right now, which we need. And we say, and that will be, let me go to this one. This Kashika, he will let me go to 1432. We need one extension for that. The one extension that we are going to look at right now is that, okay. So this is what I had, the Kashika Vritti on 1432, right? And here he says, Kriya Grahanam api kartavyam. Kriya Grahanam api kartavyam. So keep the Vartikams in mind, okay? So far all we have said is that if the object of a verb is intended for somebody, that will take Sampradana Sanya, and then we'll get a Chaturthi Vibhakti. Now what Katyan is saying is that if there is an object of an action also, not only the object, but when the action is done for something, then all that something should also take the Sampradana Sanya. He says, Yuddhaya Sannayyate. He gets ready for war. He gets prepared for war. So we don't have an object of we being ready here. We directly have the action being done for something. So Yuddhaya Sannayyate. Yuddhaya Sannayyate. So if you do an action for the sake of something, then that something for which that action is done will also take Sampradana Sanya, and that will, of course, then we use Chaturthi Sampradane, become Sampradana. It will become Chaturthi Vibhakti, I'm sorry. So this is an extension done by Katyayana to Panini's Sutram. Because Panini only says Karmana Yam Abhipraiti. But Katyayana says, no, you should say Kriya Api Yam Abhipraiti. So he says Kriya Api Yam Abhipraiti. So Sampradhanam. So that extension number 1 we have now. We're going to use that. Very good for us. If we see an action being done for something, then that something will take the Sampradana Sanya and then Chaturthi Vibhakti. Okay, so we want to use that important Vartikam which is there. Now, next let's run through these other ones which are given in this one. 1433, we're going from 1432 down to 41. Some of these are not so important because some of these, this is the thing. You see, Panini Sutras, you don't know whether they're applying in 1,000 situations or whether they are very specific to one rare case somewhere. See, that's the thing about the Ashtadhyayi, which we don't know. If you look at a sutram, just if you don't know anything, it might be some very, very rare usage, 1 in a million chance. Or it could be like an extremely important sutram, if you don't know. So in fact, one of my projects is to make the Ashtadhyayi, give it like star ratings, like you have on the web, the star ratings. Like how many hits the sutra gets. What you can do is you can take like Mahabharatam, Ramayanam, Bhagavatam, maybe, some other Kavya Granthas and say how many hits does this sutra get. Like a sutra like Karakhe will get like 1 million hits. But there are some sutras which will get almost no hits, like maybe 1 or 2, maybe 5. So they should be given a very low star rating. So in fact, that is what the Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi does for us. It takes only the 3-star, 4-star, 5-star sutra. In this class, we're only looking mainly at, 3, 4, 5 stars most of the time. And the one that I will repeat 1,000 times are going to be the 5-star, 4-star sutra, which I use most often. So even though I give the section 1432 to 1441, a couple of them in there, are very, very specific. How do you know they're specific? They have a lot of conditions on them. For one dhatu, in one specific meaning, like that. So we don't need that right now. Then go ahead. But some of them are important. Let's take the first one, 1433. Rucyarthanam priyamanaha. Rucyarthanam priyamanaha. So when you have this dhatu in the sense of, like you say, Mayyam modakam rochate. You can say modakaha. Mayyam rochate. So I like modakas. So modakas are pleasing unto me. So modaka is pleasing unto me. The person who's being pleased, will take the Sampadana Sanya. So it says Mayyam rochate. This is kind of difficult. It says I like modakas. It should say modakas are pleasing unto me. And then I'm going to get the Chaturthi Vibhakti. First I'm going to get the Sampadana Sanya, Chaturthi Vibhakti. So Vyakaranam Mayyam Bhrisham Rochate. So I like Vyakaranam a lot. Then Vyakaranam Mayyam Rochate. So that's what 1433 is saying. that this is a specific use for these dhatus in the sense of to please somebody. The person being pleased is going to take Chaturthi Vibhakti. Okay. Now the next sutram is not. Let's skip the next one. Not that important. Next one is 1435. It says dhare uttamranaha. Uttamranaha. So when you have a credit transaction and somebody lends something to somebody, uttamranaha. Uttamranaha is the one who is the creditor, not the debtor. The adhamaranaha is one who is a debtor. He is the lower. Adhama is lower. Uttama is the higher. So the one who is lending is the uttamaranaha. Rinaha is debt. Rinam is debt. So one who is the creditor, she will take the Chaturthi Vibhakti. He will take the Sampadana Sanya first of all. For example, Yajnadattaya shatam dharayati. Yajnadattaya shatam dharayati. So somebody owes $100 to Yajnadatta. Yajnadatta is a creditor here. So Yajnadattaya dharayati. It has to also be this dhatu, so dharer. So it says it has to use, dhare means to kind of owe somebody. It means to hold, to bear, but it also means to hold, to owe. This is specific. These dhatus have many, many meanings. Get used to that. Dhatus have many, many different meanings. So when you owe money to somebody or owe something to somebody, this dhatu, dharayati is used. Then the person who's being owed to, the creditor, will take Sampadana Sanya and he will take Chaturthi Vibhakti. So it's a specific sutram. Used not, it's used once in a while. Next thing sutra says, Spruher ipsitaha. Spruher ipsitaha. So when you have this dhatu sprahayati, means he longs for something. When someone longs for something, he says, Chhatraha jnanaya sprahayati. So the student longs for knowledge. So longs for knowledge, So it's the object of the. See, in these cases, what would have happened if you did not have this sutram, then you'd probably go for the karmani dvitiya. It will get the karma sanya. It will be the object of longing, and any object should take the karma sanya and become dvitiya vibhakti. But this specific dhatus, Panini is saying, when you have these dhatus, then it will overrule the karma sanya. You'll come to the sampradana sanya. And one of them we saw is this one is when you long for something. Dhatu spraha is used. Sprahayati, which is you long for something. So pushpe bhyas, Kashika gives example, pushpe bhyas sprahayati, phale bhyas sprahayati. So then that which you long for is used in the Chaturthi, in the sampradana sanya, and then Chaturthi Vibhakti. Next one says is that Krudha, I'm going a little bit fast, but we're going to see this in the homework also. Okay, when you come to homework, we're going to use these sutras. What it come to. He says Krudha, Druha, Irshya, Asuyarthanam Yam Pratikopaha. He's given 4 dhatus here. Krudha, to be angry with somebody. Druha, to hate somebody, to be treacherous to somebody. Irshya, is to be jealous of somebody, and then asuya, to find fault with somebody, to kind of backbiting somebody. That these dhatus, the person who's the target of these, either the anger or the hate or the jealousy or the fault finding, that person will take the yam prati kopaha. Even though it says kopaha, it is lakshnika artha, means not only kopaha, but the object of druha, irsha, and asuya also. So these 4 set of dhatus. And it says artha. Okay, let me point one more thing over here. He says asuya arthanam. When Pani says arthanam, you also include the samanarthaka dhatus. So not only krudha, but also other dhatus which means to be angry, like kupyati. You can say, for example, Mata Putraya Kupyati. The mother is angry with the son. So not only Krudha, but other dhatus which mean this. So that's what it says Arthanam. Panini get used to that. When Panini says Arthanam, Artha, he means that these other dhatus with the same meaning also. So krudha, drha, irsha, and asuya. So these four will take, and the one who is the target of these will take the sampradana sanya. Okay. The next one he puts now, he says, but wait a minute. If dhatu krudha or drha have an upasarga with them, you go back to the karma sanya. So in 1437 he says krudha, drha, isha, asuyarthanam. But then next one he says if krudha or drha have an upasarga with them, upasrishtayoho, means they have an upasarga, then you have to use the karma sanya. Go back to karma. So the example Kashika gives is the following. We say is that Devadattaya kridhyati. Somebody is angry with Devadatta. But a Devadatta, get used to form Devadatta. This Devadatta is like the John Doe, when you say Mr. X, Mr. John Smith, very, very common term, This is what I think they call it, I think John Doe they call him. So it is just somebody. When you say Mr., when it's somebody general. So Devadatta, you see this term Devadatta being used a lot of time, not only in Vyakaranam, but in other granthas also. It just means some ordinary person, some simple person. That's all it means. So Devadattaya drijyati. Somebody is angry with Devadatta. But the next sutra it says Devadattam abhikrudyati. If you use the upasarga abhi, which may not add that much meaning. Maybe he's angry towards him. He's kind of really angry with him. You see, upasarga dhatu combinations, you have to, Panini will not help you there, okay? Panini will not tell you the meaning of these upasarga dhatu. That you have to learn from the language. What does abhikrudha mean? You have to go and see example. You can look at the dictionary and find out. But all Panini is saying is that if you have an upasarga with krudha or drha, then don't use chaturthi vibhakti. We don't get a sampradana sanya. We get the karma sanya. We basically back to karma sanya, to the object of that dhatu, of that hate or of that anger. Okay, that was 37. Now 39 sutra we had actually skipped. Anuji had a question, so let's look at that. So he says Radhi ikshyor yasya viprashnaha. So he says Radhehe ikshescha karakam sampradana sanyam bhavati. Yasya viprashnaha. Says Vividha prashnaha, viprashnaha. So, yasya shubhashavam prichyate. So, viprashnaha means when you ask somebody, how are you? How are you doing? Shubhashavam prichyate. Means that, are you doing well? Are you not doing? So, it's a very specific sutram. Only for dhatu radh and dhatu iksh. So, it says that, Devadattaya rajyati, Devadattaya ikshate. So he says, so he kind of, he makes this question about Devadatta, viprashnaha. So he's kind of trying to find out how Devadatta is doing, So that's in that meaning, these two dhatus. So this sutra we can almost skip because this usage is very rare in the language. See, if Panini finds few usages in the language, which he has to make a decision now. Does he want a sutra for that, or does he want to skip that? Sometimes he might decide to skip that because he feels that because Panini went discussed with all the grammarians, what they think of this usage and that usage and all of that. And sometimes when he finds something which is not that shishta prayoga, he will skip that. Sometimes when he finds something which is worth use, which is worth document, he'll document that. So this is only for dhatu radh and iksh. In that specific meaning of radh and iksh is to look at. Radh is to actually to worship, like aradhanam. But here when they use in this specific meaning viprashnaha, then Pani says don't use the ditya, don't use the karma sanya. You'll get the sampradana sanya. Now at this point I want to point out to one more tool that we have, by the way, is on the west coast. Sri Ajita Krishnan, he has put a lot of these documents on the web for us to use. And one of them that he has done, he has put the commentary on the Kashika. Just want to bring it out to you for 1 second, which is very nice. A little bit advanced maybe for some of you, but it's available on the web. So for example, I have a question about this sutram now, this 1439. And I want to get more details, just if somebody can help me out. So what I do is that I can look at their Kashika also has commentaries on that. We don't need to be afraid of them, because they are basically going to give us in a little bit more detail, what is going to be. So here we have this. He has published this Kashika along with there are two main commentaries on the Kashika, the Nyasaha, the Padamanjari. So Nyasa is an older commentary, very beautiful, very beautiful. This is about more than 1,000 years old, Nyasa commentary. Padamanjari comes after that. So if I want to just quickly, and one more important thing is all the Kashika examples are explained, unless they're very simple, of course, in detail in these commentaries. If you want to know the little bit more about these examples, you go and see, in the Nyasa or Padamanjari. So this document is, I think Kalpesh ji has put the link on the Google page for us, so we can go and here, he has. I'm a little bit okay. Here it is. We can jump to this. So when we see Nyasa, if you want to go to 1.4, this is the PDF document, and you should not be afraid of the size. See, we have just a specific question right now. I want to go to 1433 because I'm doing it together with. This is what I do after the class, by the way. If I have a question, where do I go to find the answers? This sutra is not in Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. It is not in Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. I can go to Siddhanta Kaumudi and commentaries on that, or I can come to Kashika and see the commentaries on that to find answers. So one thing I want to tell you is how to find answers to questions. And so let me go. Let's see what he has to say. He says, again, I haven't read this before the class. I just want to give you an example. It says, Krishna says, Shubhasham Yaschitigaranam Vispashtatam Yam Prati Janavatare Krishna. So he says, he gives, first of all, he tells us what dhatus are you using. See, this is now the Nyasa commentary. See, this Rajyati is the example. He'll give you the dhatu number in the dhatu pataha, Daivadikaha. So he says, Yasya Grahanam iti Vispashtartham. So Yasya may not be required in sutra. So he gives details. He'll going to give you more into what this means. So anyway, I want to just point out that this document is available on the web. It has some typos, but it has been put on this PDF. So you can download it and you can look around. Maybe a little bit intimidating for you right now, but this is where we have to go to find the answers. Okay, so let's move on. So this was a very specific sutram which we can skip for the time being because we're taking only the important sutrams we are taking. Next one, he says, do we need anything else? Okay, I think we are pretty much at the end of that. We don't need the other sutram because they're also not that important. So we got, what do we have so far? We have the first one, the karmana yamavipraiti sasampradanam. With the vartikam, is kriya api yamavipraiti sasampradanam. Those two we have. Then ruchyarthanam priyamanaha. So when you please somebody, that somebody takes sampradanam. Then the next one we skipped, then we came to 35. Dhare ruttamaranaha. So when you owe somebody something, that somebody will take the sampradana sanya. Then spruher ipsitaha. Spruher in the dhatu spruha. That's which you want to get. Ipsitaha. Ipsa is the desire to get. Aptum ichha ipsa. So the dhatu ap. When you desire to get something is ipsa. So that which you long for, that is going to get the sampradana sanya. Next sutram also important. Krudha, druha, isha, asuyarthanam. So the one who you want with somebody, is angry with somebody, when you hate somebody or commit treachery, or if you are jealous of somebody, or if you're backbiting somebody, that somebody will take the sampradana sanya. The next sutra says, but if krudha and druha have an upasarga with them, go back to karma. So that's what we have from this section. Okay. So 1, 4, 32, 33, 35, 36, 37, 38 is what we have. And we're going to practice these in the homework. Let's go to 2.3. Now this is only assigned a sampradana label. That's all we have done so far. We only assigned a sampradana label. Of course, when you go to 2.3, the first sutram tells us chaturthi sampradane. So 2, 3, 13 immediately tells us that all these things which we assign a sampradana label to, they will all take chaturthi vibhakti. So that sutram also has some vartikams on that. Okay. So let's go to them. They're also important. One more thing about finding Vartikams, by the way. Finding Vartikams. Look at the top level sutram, which in 1.4 was the 1.432, where Sampradana Sanya begins. See, in 1.432 begins the Sampradana Sanya. That's where Katyayana will put the Vartikams. He will say, no, this has to also take Sampradana Sanya, this has to take, this has to take. So look at the top level sutram. You'll find the Vartikams there. Same thing in 2.3 when you come. The very first sutram which we say Chaturthi Sampradane. Under that you will find the Vartikams. And there are some which we need and some which we need. So let's go to that this Chaturthi Sampradane, which is 2.3.13. And let's find out what Katyayana has to say. And he puts a couple of them over there which are going to be useful for us. 2.3.13. Okay. And the one that he says, first of all, so this sutra is basically saying that all those items which we assigned a Sampradana label 2 in 1.4, they are going to take Chaturthi Vibhakti. Now, and he will give the example. For example, the very first, Upadhyaya Gam Dadati. He gives a cow for his teacher. So Upadhyaya got the Sampradana Sanya, and now we give it Chaturthi Vibhakti. And he says, there's some typos in this one also, so be careful. Manavakaya Bhiksham Dadati. So he gives Bhiksha for the student, for the boy. So somebody gives Bhiksha for the boy. And so on and so forth he gives. Now here comes one Vartikam now. Chaturthi Vidhane Tadarthe Upasankhyanam. Chaturthi Vidhane Tadarthe Upasankhyanam. Upasankhyanam means you should include that. You should add that, include that also. So what does he want to include? He's saying when something is meant for something else, that something else will take the Chaturthi Vibhakti also. Yupaya Daru. The piece of wood is meant to make the sacrificial altar. Yupa in Vedic sacrifices you have the yupa. So this piece of wood is meant for that. So that yupa will take the Chaturthi. That's what Katyayana is saying, that his Panini Sutras will not justify this usage. So he's saying because we did not get Chaturthi Vibhakti from anywhere for this. So when something is meant for something else, now how is this different from what we said before, the Upadhyaya Gam Dadati? Because there Gam was the object of a verb, and that object was intended for somebody, that somebody got Chaturthi. Here we don't have that. We simply have Yupaya Daru. This Daru is not the object of anything. So it's just something which is meant for something else. It says Kundalaya Hiranyam. So the gold is meant for making earrings. This is a gold for the earrings. So the earrings will take the Chaturthi. Kundalaya Hiranyam. Randhanaya Sthali. There's a typo here. Just ignore this. Randhanaya Sthali. So means the pan is meant for frying. It's a frying pan. It's a pan. It's meant for frying. So Randhanaya Sthali. Cooking. Randhanaya Sthali. So this is one extension which Katyayana has done for us now. Chaturthi Vidhane Tadarthi Upasankhyanam. As I mentioned before in this class, is that Vibhaktis and Samasas, they are not black and white, not like Sandhi rules and this land. So you will find more Vartikams, more extensions in these areas. That could be intentional also, because Panini wants the language to be a little bit flexible. Don't want to keep it rigid to all his Vibhaktis. So that's why Panini may not have put everything down there. He wants us to extend a little bit here and there. And how do we extend? From the Shishta Prayogas. So that is the Antima Pramanyam. That has the Pramanyam, is what Shishtas use. That is the Pramanyam in this language. So if we want to justify what they say, Vyasa says, or Kalidasa says, or Bhagavatam says, or Ramayana says, or Mahabharatam says, or Shankara says, Sridhara Swami says, Malinatha says, then you come here and you try to justify what they are. The sutras are meant to justify what they are saying. And then once we learn to be like them, then we can also compose. So, okay, so this is one extension. Chaturthi Vidhane Tadati Upasankhyanam. So this is one extension. Next one he says is that it's Kripi. This is the font problem over here. when the dhatu krip is used, krip means is to be conducive to something, to lead to something. Then also we have to use Chaturthi Vibhakti is what Katyayana is saying, to that which it leads to. Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate comes in Bhagavad Gita. Oh, a little bit, I was not a little bit slow on Gita today, but Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate means Brahmatvaya Kalpate. He becomes fit to attain the status of Brahma, Brahmatvaya Kalpate. Kalpate. So he says, Mutraya Kalpate Yavaguhu. But barley leads to urinating. Mutraya Kalpate Yavaguhu. Ucharaya Kalpate Yavaguhu. So here we did not have the Chaturthi Vibhakti coming from anything else. See, in the prior example we have the Kundalai Hiranyam. It's not like the gold leads to earrings. The gold becomes the earrings. It transforms into the earrings. But here, the barley leads to, good pronunciation. So if you have this yavaguhu, it leads to pronunciation. It doesn't transform to pronunciation. So this is dhatu krip. When you should use the chaturthi. So when something is conducive to something else, that something else should take chaturthi, is what Katyayana is saying. And then he also makes a further extension. It doesn't have to be the dhatu krip only. He says kripi iti artha nirdeshaha. Remember the word artha coming again. So not only krip, but the dhatus in the meaning of krip also will take the chaturthi. So mutraya sampadyate yavaguhu. Mutraya jayate yavaguhu. So barley leads to urinating. So this one jayate. Jaya is to be born really. Means leads to. It's conducive to. Supporting for, So then, and there are a couple of the Vartikam which are kind of, they are not that, there are some more down here, but let's leave them for the time being. They're not that important. So what did we have here? The main one we had here is the Chaturthi Vidhane, Tadarthi Upasankhyanam. Tadarthi Upasankhyanam. Now, when you read commentaries, when you read good text, they will say Tadarthi Chaturthi, Tadarthye Chaturthi. They will not tell you it's a Vartikam. So you assume to know this Vartikam is there. The word Tadarthi has been used over here, and then you have to come and look at the Vartikam. That's one extension which Katyayana made. Second one he made was when Dhatu Krip is there, or any of its synonyms. Then also the thing which is being led to, that should be also in Chaturthi. So Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate Bhagavad Gita. So Jnanaya Kalpate. Shokaya Kalpate also it can be. Leads to sorrow, leads to knowledge, leads to whatever. So on. So these are also, this is extension. We need these Vartikams. We're going to need these. We're only taking the ones that we need right now. That was 2, 3, 13. Well, let's look at the other ones rather briefly. And this one is also one of my favorite sutras. It says Kriyartha Upapadasya cha karmani sthaninaha. What this means briefly is that when you use this pratyaya tumun, and for example, we says pushpani praptum balakaha gacchati. So the boy goes to get flowers. Now, simple sentence, nothing really. Pushpani praptum, to get, or pushpani chetum gacchati. Collect flowers, he goes. Now, if you suppress the tumun, if you don't want, if the speaker doesn't want to use it, he can directly use a Chaturthi Vibhakti on that object of the tumun which is now suppressed. He can say like this, Pushpebhya gacchati balakaha. The boy goes for the sake of flowers. Means to collect flowers, to get flowers, he goes. To find flowers, he goes. So that when the to find or to get or to collect is suppressed, then the object of that collecting or finding, what it might be, that will take the Chaturthi Vibhakti directly. So he says, Balakaha pushpebhyaha gacchati, phalebhyaha gacchati. For example, you can say, Jnanaya Chhatraha agacchati. So the student comes for knowledge. Means jnanam praptum agacchati. He comes to get knowledge, he comes. So, samadhanam praptum agacchati. So he comes to get, to clarify his doubts. So that is a very important sutra in my opinion, because you can justify, see the question is that, that Katyayana gave all his Vartikams. Now, how come Panini didn't know that? He couldn't justify these from these things. So this is where the scholars will debate. In the Mahabhashyam, in the Kashika, Siddhanta Kaumudi, they will ask this question. Why is this Vartikam necessary? Is it not necessary? Maybe it's not necessary. So they will debate this thing. Now when we use this one, the first Vartikam which we saw that Kriyaya api yama vipraiti, we might be able to bypass that. Since we saw that yuddha sannayyate. He gets ready for war. We could have said yuddham yodhum sannayyate. He gets ready to fight the war. We said that to fight was suppressed, and we can say yuddhaya sannayyate. So this sutram, in my opinion, can be used. And see, when I say something on my own, I will tell you clearly this is on my own. Okay. So I feel this Vartikam, this sutram, can be used to bypass some of the Vartikams which we may not need. It's a very useful sutram. Is that Kriya Artha Upadasya. See, Kriya Artha Kriya is the time when we use this Tumun Pratyaya. For, in English simply to get to be the infinitive. What we call the English infinitive in English. And when that has a karma, but it's a sthaninaha, that tumun is only sthanina, which is suppressed. It's not directly being used. The karma will take the chaturthi. So remember this one, we will use this one. We will need this one. Many chaturthis can be justified by this. Many chaturthis can be justified by this sutram. Should be nice. So all you need is to supply tumun, make the object of that tumun, and then suppress the tumun. And then you can, that object which was there will now take the chaturthi bhakti. Okay. Then we'll skip the number 15, which is not that common. Number 16, Namaswasti Swaha Swadha Alam Vashad Yogacha. And repeat the sutra as many times as you can. Please, the sutras are meant to be repeated, meant to be memorized. They have the power in them. They really do. They have the samarthyam. So you can memorize these sutras or at least repeat them. Rather than repeating something in the English books or whatever, repeat these sutras. So Namaswasti Swaha Swadha Alam Vashat Yogacha. Actually, I said to my teacher what he used to get about 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And if you're sleeping there, you'll hear the sutra in the morning at 5 o'clock. And one of the Swamijis was going to stay in his house. So I woke up at 5 o'clock and I hear the sutras in the morning at 5 o'clock. So he used to repeat the sutras in the morning, at least 50, 20, 100, whatever time he has. So he used to repeat them, keep on repeating them. So Namaswasti Swaha Swadha Alam Vashad Yoga Cha. So when you have these terms, Namaha, Swasti, Swaha, Swadha, Alam, and Vashat. Then together with that, something which is used, that will take the Chaturthi Bhakti directly. So Namah Shivaya is very famous, you all know that. Namah Shivaya, Namo Narayanaya, the Namah is used. Swasti means well-being. So it says Prajabhya Swastihi. So Prajabhya means let there be well-being or hail to all the people. May good betide them. So Swasti. This is an Avya Swasti. This is also declined Swasti, also an Avya Swasti. Swaha is used with the gods. So Indraya Swaha, you can say Varunaya Swaha. When you have all the yajnas, this Swaha is used. Then Swadha is also another technical term, which is used for offerings. So you can say, so words Pitrubhya Swadha. So Swadha is used for offering to the mains, to the ancestors. These are all Vedic terms. They don't have really meaning in terms of, we cannot get the dhatu. Some of these Vedic terms, it's difficult to track them down. Then Vashat. This Vashat is also a Vedic term. Vashat. We don't know exactly what it means. It was used in the yajnas in the old times. But then the Vashat is used also, you have to use the Chaturthi. Now, but the word Alam is here. Anuji had the question too. Let me talk about the word Alam for a second. Alam has a few different meanings. Alam means Alankaraha. Alankara means to like Bhushanarthe. means to, when you decorate somebody, you can use the word alam. Alam is an avya. It's an avya. It's an indeclinable form. It can be used in bhushanarthe. That's not the meaning here. Alam can also mean enough with that. Stop. It says rodanena alam, vilapanena alam. So stop lamenting, stop grieving. So he says stop with that. That Tritiya Vibhakti is taken with that. Tritiya, it comes. We see it later why Tritiya comes. But anyway, right now that meaning of alam is not intended here. So it's not the meaning to decorate. It's not the meaning enough with something. It's the meaning to be capable, samarthya. Or he says, you know, prabhavaha. When somebody can deal with somebody else, when somebody is a match for somebody else, when somebody can take care of somebody else in the sense of, you know, and kind of overpowering him or, you know, keeping him in check. That is the meaning of alam in this sutram. So in that meaning only, alam, whoever is the person who is being matched or is being checked, that will be in the Chaturthi Vibhakti. So he says, Mallaha Mallaya Alam. So this wrestler can deal with other wrestler. He says, Bhagavan Daityebhya Alam. The Lord can deal with the demons. He is capable of dealing with them. So this also has a Vartikam on that, because see, the meaning of Alam was not very clear. So then let's go to Shastriji's book. Again, this book I'm referring to is by Bhimsen Shastriji. It is Laghu Siddhanta Kaumadi, very fantastic book. And everything we do in this class, almost everything I should say, is in these books. It's in Hindi, but please try to get this set of books if you go to India. It's called the Bhaimi Vyakhya of Laghu Siddhanta Kaumadi. And there he says there's a Vartikam here. Alam iti paryaptyartha grahanam. Alam iti paryaptyartha grahanam. So that's what I was telling you about. Paryapti. Paryapta means it is, okay, let's go to Bhagavad Gita. Where is paryapta come in Bhagavad Gita? Anybody? I think it might come here. Second adhyaya, right? When actually the first adhyaya itself, I think Duryodhana itself saying paryaptam. So let me go there. Get some Gita going. Okay, Chandrasekhar has the answer, yes.
Paryaptam balamas, that is first chapter.
Very good. Paryaptam tudamete sham balam bhishma virakshitam. Aparyaptam tudasmakam balam bhishma virakshitam. Paryaptam tudamete sham balam bhima virakshitam. That's a bit of controversial sutra, controversial shloka, okay? I'll tell you why. Because from what we're looking at now, it almost reverses the meaning. You know, look at this one. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma virakshitam. Paryaptam tidamete sham balam bhima virakshitam. Induji also has a hand up. Yes, Induji. Induji? The same shloka probably she has, but maybe your mic is not working. Okay. So here, actually look at what he's saying. Not to spend too much time on Gita because we have limited time, but what I'm saying is that yes, Induji. Yes, Induji.
No, I was just saying it was the first chapter. So.
Yeah, first chapter, this shloka. But what's happening here is that he's saying that first of all, who's talking? Duryodhana is talking here. He's saying that army of ours, which is guarded by Bhishma, is aparyaptam, he's saying. Almost like not capable. And he says this army of theirs, which is guarded by Bhima, is paryaptam. So this is like a passive usage here. And first of all, because he is supposed to be close to Bhishma and far from Bhima, and he's saying this army of theirs and that army of ours. So that is a bit of a problem here. And second thing is that if you just take the regular meaning, it almost says that he cannot be saying our army is incapable. He's saying the reverse way. So I guess what he means is that this army of ours is not capable of being overpowered, but that army of theirs is capable of being overpowered. I think that's why you take it in that from the context. You take it like that. But anyway, the word paryaptam does come in this shloka in Gita. So what this Vartikam is saying is that this alam should be used in that meaning only. And what does the vritti says? Daityebhya harir alam. So Lord Hari can take care of the demons. And he says, you can also use Prabhu, Samarthaha, Shaktaha, ityadi. You don't have to use the volume only the Paryapti Arthigrahanam. So you can take, it can be even Daityebhya Prabhu, Daityebhya Samarthaha, Daityebhya Shaktaha. So this is the one which is the alam, the meaning of alam in this sutram. So it has a specific meaning, not the bhushanarthe, not also the one which says, enough with something, not that. So that was the main sutram there. I think the other one which you want. So this is the main Chaturthi section. Okay, if you've done in some detail today, and I apologize to the older students. We did a little bit of review today because a lot of new people have joined us today. So I wanted to give them, a little bit of a head start. So when we do the homework now, we are going to try to use these sutras and try to find, because see, let's go to the homework now for a second, for a minute, and the when we see, it is very, because homework is kind of easy. Let's take one example. Yaha pareb number 3 we are doing now. Yaha parebhyo suyati sa atmane drijyati. One thing about the homework, these verses aren't. Oh, Anuji has a question. Okay. She had a question about the alam. Yes. Yes, Anuji.
Satishji, why aren't these included in 1.4? They are given separate under 2.3.13.
Because
this
they don't.
nama,
because they will not get the. Because as I said to you, they are kind of little bit. They will, when there's a conflict, these will get overruled.
Oh. Okay.
So because we said that Narayana Namaskaram we mentioned in the beginning of class, right? So these are not, when there is another Karaka Vibhakti coming, these will get overruled.
Oh, okay. Thank
That's
you.
one of the reasons why they're put over here, not over there. So, okay, so when we do the homework, some of these homework exercises are, by the author himself has put the sentence. So they'll be kind of a little bit, what should I say, a little bit straightforward, but sometimes a little bit strange also. And the other ones he's taken from different granthas, like he takes from the Kavyamala, he takes from some other Subhashitams, he might take from Gita. So you'll find different kind of sentences here. But our objective here is not to take the homework, but try to go to the Vyakaranam. Otherwise, the sentence itself is quite easy. It says, Yaha parebhyaha asuyati saha atmane drijyati. Now, one more thing, this asuyati, this form asuyati, it is clearly lat lakara form, is one who finds fault with others. He says it's a bit of a strange sentence. He hates himself, atman drijyati, or he is treacherous towards himself. He commits treachery towards himself, atman drijyati. So because his dhatu druh is to bear malice, so he is malicious towards himself. So, don't ask me whether the sentence makes full sense or not, but that's what the sentence is given to us. So one who, this asuya is to envy. So one who envies others, he bears malice towards himself. Okay. So anyway, we are doing only Vyakaranam right now. Not to see the sentence makes sense or not, that's a different thing. But this form asuyati, this is what is called as a nama dhatu, what's called a denominative form. Means you take a noun and from that you make a verb. You take a noun or indeclinable and from that you make it verb. For example, kakaha na garudayate. So, like in English we have that, we say stop clowning around. So clowning. So clowning is not, clown is not a verb. We say he's clowning. Clowning means he's acting like a clown. So kakaha gurudayate, na gurudayate. So the crow cannot act like Garuda. So these are these dhatus, and that's not the topic of this lesson. We are pointing because if you look at this try to find dhatu pasha, you will not find this. You will not find this.
Satishji,
yes.
This asu I thought was also in the Kandwadi. So Kandwadi Bioyak.
Right. So Kandwadi, but so then what number is that?
3127. Kandwadi Bioyak. So it gets Sanadhyanta Dhatava also.
Sanjay Dhatava, correct. But then the thing is that, if you look at Dhatu Pasha, you will not find this. Right? In Dhatu Patha, you will not find the asu.
Will it still be
Okay.
Namadhatu?
It's an important question. Actually, Kalpeji is right. So that's why when I say something wrong, please correct me. So what Kalpeji is, let's go this section. Okay, let's find out. Let's go through this section now. Now, at the beginning of 3.1, as we were talking before, is that there will be this what Panini has is derived dhatus, sanadyanta dhatavaha. So and from 315 to 3132, Panini has his derived dhatus, means all the desiderative, all the causatives, all the frequentatives, and stuff like that. Okay. Now, one more thing I want to quickly point out is that you know the sanya which is called sarva dhatuka and ardha dhatuka. We're going to see this many times, and these pratyayas which are coming, which we said dhatoho, dhatoho, dhatoho. So after these, when the word dhatoho is used, any pratyaya which is ordained, that pratyaya will either be sarva dhatuka or ardha dhatuka. But there are some sutra in 3.1 where the pratyaya is neither sarva dhatuka nor ardha dhatuka, because the word dhatoho is not coming. And those are what the namadhatu. So Kalpesh ji is right. Let's go to here. Okay. So 3.1 when we come to here is that we saw 3.17 had a dhatoho, but then 3.18, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. There is no dhatoho. From 22 a new dhatoho starts. So I take it back. Kalpesh ji is right. So this is a derived dhatu, but it's not a namadhatu, because namadhatu is the one which come without the dhatoho. What is namadhatu? See, this is a lesson for me for today. Every class I learn something. Every class I learn something new. And thanks to the students only I learn. So otherwise if I'm sitting at home, I'd be under the false impression that this is a namadhatu. So and what I learn also I will tell you. Of course it's too complicated, I won't tell you that much. But sometimes something very small that I learn. So Kalpeji is right. What is namadhatu? Namadhatu means which is a dhatoho is not coming behind that. So derived dhatus are many. Within that, namadhatus, which is called denominatives, is a subset of that. So when you have like causative, when he says ashvasayam Bhagavad Gita, right? We have darshayamasa, ashvasayamasa, all these, so mohayati. So these are causative forms. They are derived. Why does Panini have a problem with these? Because we cannot decline, we cannot conjugate anything unless it's a verb. It is a dhatu sanya. We say gacchati. I can say because dhatu gam is in dhatu part, I can say gacchati. But the dhatu, let's say mohayati, mohayasi in Bhagavad Gita, right? Mohayasi me. Dhatu mukh is in dhatu patha, but not the dhatu mohi. When I make it a causative form from mukh, make it mohi, that is not in dhatu patha. So Panini has to give a dhatu sanya specially for them. So then they can be either conjugated or you can also form the participle forms. So that's what Panini does in 1.3.132. Sanadyanta dhatavaha. So he says that these terms which have been formed here between 3.15 and 3.132, they will also get the dhatu sanya. So just like the shuddha dhatu in dhatu patha, these can also be conjugated. They can also form participle forms, etc. But within that we have these two sections, one which the dhatoho was used, one which was not used. I think I'm harping on this dhatu again and again because of the fact that only when dhatoho is used specifically do you get the sanya sarva dhatuka and ardha dhatuka, which we are going to use many times. Otherwise, for example, here it says supaha atmanaha kyach. So putriyati, when someone wants a son for himself, it says putriyati, means he wants a son for himself. This pratyaya kyach is neither sarva dhatuka nor ardha dhatuka. The one, and there are, as I said to you, from 3.18, if you look at 3.1, from 3.18 up to 3.121, you have the namadhatus. And maybe we'll look at them at some point. We already covered this prior in this class, but a lot of new people, so we'll look at them again. And the one that we want right now is not there. The one we have is this kanvadi gana. This kanvadi bhyoya. This is called a gana. This kanvadi is the set of terms. But Panini puts this yak pratyaya and makes a dhatu out of them. So they're not really namadhatus. This is a specific gana, which this kanvadis are like dhatus which are used to make derived dhatus. Okay, so I stand corrected. So asuyati is in that gana. The kanvadi has the word asu in there, so you get the asuyati. Anyway, if you look in the dhatu patha, you will not really find this that in dhatu patha in any gana. You have to go to this extension called the kanvadis. They will find them. But don't worry about the details too much. All I want to point to you is that this form asuyati, and thank you Kalpeji, is that you will not find this in the dhatu patha itself as it is in any gana. You have to make a derived dhatu from that, and it's a bit complicated, okay? So asuyati. So let's finish the example. Yaha is prathama ekavachanam. It's a pronoun. Yat pradipadikam. And who is it qualifying? It supplies janaha. So yaha janaha, a person. Is parebhyaha, janebhya, and it's also a pronoun. Supply janebhya. Parebhya janebhya, asuyati. Now, how do we get the Chaturthi Vibhakti from here? We already saw that to it, didn't we? When we saw the 1.4, in 1.4, when Panini specifically said, when you use the this dhatu asuya, or so I'm going back to which we saw today. So we're running out of time, but I want to only one to examine. Next time when you do the homework, we please try to point out a sutta which you're using to get the Chaturthi Vibhakti. So here Panini said is krudha, draha, irshya, asuyarthanam. So that's how from 1.437 this word para got the sampradana sanya, and then we come to 2.3.13, we say chaturthi sampradane. So that's going to be the step-by-step process. The same thing. He's talking about the dhatu drah. So same sutram is krudha drah irsha suyarthanam yam pratikopaha. So this was also the same sutram, the one who you bear malice, one who you hate. That also will be, or somebody hates, that also will give the chaturthi sampradana sanya, chaturthi vibhakti. So this is what I'd like you to do for homework. We try to load this page. Maybe Kalpej or Vain can help me load this page to the Google, and this you will do the homework. We'll just want to do only one more example, only 2-3 minutes. I like to start on time, like to end on time. I'll be here for questions, but let's do only one more example, then we'll stop. Is prasadam? Okay, so let's finish the prior one. Atmane drijyati. This Atmane chaturthi vibhakti. So saha. So you look at the yattat construct. So one who finds fault with others, who bears malice towards others, he basically, one who's envious of others, he bears malice towards himself. Atmane is to the self. So drujyati. Drujyati is the latlakara form, dhatu druh. So he bears malice towards himself. So yattat construct. One who does this, he hates himself. So in both these cases, same sutram. Next one, prasadam sharanaya gatan janan raja abhyanandat. Raja abhyanandat. So prasadam sharanaya gatan. So prasadam is ditya ekavachanam. Prasada, it's a Ramavat Shabda. It's the object of gatan. And sharanaya. So this is where you have Chaturthi Vibhakti. We have to justify Chaturthi Vibhakti. Sharanaya, Gatan, Janan. So Raja, Abhyanandat. So the king, Raja, Abhyanandat. This is a past tense form. Abhi Anandat become Abhyanandat. It's a lang lakara form. It's a past tense form. It is Abhi plus Anandat. So we see that there are 3 past tenses in the language, and 2 of them take the adagama, and so far we only learned one of them, which is the lang lakara. So what we have here is we have abhi, and then we have anandat. So abhyanandat. So the king kind of congratulated, or gladly approved of those people who had gone to the palace for protection. So one quick thing over here is that we will continue next time. This word gatan is normally they use this term called past passive participle, which I don't like because this is what Pani calls nishtha. Tattavatu nishtha, dhatu gam. Gata means gone. With this active or passive. Many times this is not used in a passive sense. This is an active sense. Because the king congratulated those people who had gone to the palace for protection. So they had gone. They were not gone too. They went to the palace. So how come we have this active sense? Remember one more thing, please. Is this object can only come, the prasadam, if you have a verb in the active sense. Something in the passive will not take its own object. So here, this gatan better be in the active sense. Otherwise, you will not get the object prasadam. And we are out of time. Let me give you a sutra. We'll continue next time. Is this sutra is 3472. When you have a dhatu in the sense of gatyarthe, the sense of motion, sense of going, then this so-called past passive participle can be used in the active sense. Ramaha vanangataha. Rama has gone to the forest. So gataha. He is not gone to, he has gone to the forest. So it's 3472 if you can look it up. Now next time, please, for homework, please tell me this Sharanaya, which we have used in this Chaturthi here. What sutram that we have covered today will give this form, and or Vartikam. So Sharanaya. Meaning is that king congratulated the people, Janan. Janan is object of Abhyanandat, who had gone to the palace for protection, for refuge. So next time we'll start with this Charanaya. Chaturthi Vibhakti is from what sutram? What Vartikam which we have covered today we can do. Okay, so time is up. I'll stay back for questions. Again, welcome everybody. Don't be overwhelmed. It will take some time to get used to it. And hopefully, if you have any questions, any concerns, please post them on the Google group, and students will help out, and I'll also help out. And if you need any documents, we'll try to upload this to the Google group. And if you can get the book, and get the book also from the ashram. Okay. So we'll end the class and recording and stay back for questions. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Vyata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha Raman Nasti Paranam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhautame Bho Rama Mahamudhara Rama Rameti Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Shri Rama Nama Varanana On Namati. So the class is over. Shubharati. If any questions are there, I'll stay back. Let's see. Anybody questions? No. Okay. So maybe when you can stop the recording.
Okay, I'm stopping right now.
We will start
Normally,
tomorrow.
I guess I'll leave it on if there are questions. Yeah?
Okay. But
Okay.
now it looks like there are not many
Right.
questions today.
Don't seem to be any. Okay.